Hello everyone, Scott here, just jumping on to respond to this absolute nonsense and factually inaccurate article by the mainstream media about short-term lettings. So the title, big catchy headline, millions in public money lost to short-term lets tax loophole. Sounds very dramatic, but what is it? Well, almost £20 million of public money was lost to short-term lets. It was lost to short-term lets through a tax loophole over the year, has been claimed. So this all comes from a freedom of information request from the Labour government, finding out how many properties have been changed from the council tax to business rates or domestic rates to non-domestic rates. And all this public money's been lost. So they are claiming nearly £20 million, right? And 20 million in the first instance, and we'll give a balanced viewpoint to this. Young Lewis Mackenzie here isn't doing any form of reporting or any other review here. So this is just a rehash and pretty much verbatim what Labour's saying. So no editorial things, nothing, no journalism here. Let's give you the other side of this. So £20 million, lots and lots of money. But how much is that pot? Because it's taken away £20 million. That sounds massive, but I thought actually council tax is much more. So here's how much the council tax is in Scotland. 2.732 billion. So your £20 million is absolutely less than a percentage, a fraction of a percent of all those billions there. So actually, it's not a massive amount of money, and it's probably going to make a tiny, tiny difference. Non-domestic rates. Yes, most people, it says 80% of people will receive 100% discount. Well, that's fine, but actually, what would the alternative be? Not changing it to business rates, because some local authorities insist that you change them over. So actually, you need to change them over. So it's not that us nasty short-term rent owners are breaking the law, finding a loophole. The local authorities are insisting that we do this. You think of if you think of a B&B, and you pay council tax, and that's not allowed. You need to be on business rates. If you're operating a business, i.e. a short-term rental, you should be on business rates. So it's the law. There's no way around it. So nobody's finding loopholes here. The council are telling people to do this, and that's what's happening. Local authorities are telling people to change over because they should do. So there's actually probably more people not changing over than there is. So for all the people that aren't, if they're saying these 9,000 properties here aren't changing over, bet there's the same again that are paying council tax and legitimately paying council tax when they would get 100% exemption otherwise. Let's move on. The parties it's basically the Labour bashing the SNP. No attempt has been made to close it. Well, the SNP are heavily regulating this market now, so every attempt is going to be made to close that, because they're going to shut down all those 9,000. They're not going to get licences. So I'd need to disagree with that and say, if anything, Labour are going SNP are going too far to close these loopholes. They're going to decimate the industry. So again, but it's political nonsense. Millions of pounds a year in public money has been handed over to the likes of Airbnb. It's just no correct. By the way, rates in Scotland, I don't believe business rates go to England and then get distributed. So council tax stays in the local area. Business rates gets collected by Westminster and then redistributed. It doesn't go to Airbnb. So maybe Mark Griffin from the Labour Party is completely dense, or maybe he's been disingenuous with this, but millions of pounds a year of public money is not going to Airbnb. So it's just not the case. In fact, operators would be spending that money on their properties to make them better. So it goes to local communities. Parts of Scotland are buckling under pressure. Again, no evidence of that whatsoever. Nothing to do with short-term lets. People are buckling under pressure for affordable housing. Minuscule effect that short-term lets had on it. I've said it before. And again, they're just bashing the SNP. Not that I'm sticking up for the SNP, but they've made no attempt to do this, and there's no sign of this, that, and the next. Well, definitely not true. The SNP are regulating this market. They're doing everything they can to basically destroy it and shut it down and license it. So we're going to need to get licenses for each property. So not all properties will get licenses. So again, just not true at all. The SNP are going over the top and not listening to any of the consultations they've had. So loads of points in this, but again, it's saying it's decimating local communities. If you take a property that somebody lives in, and let's say you don't pay the council tax, but you get rates exemption, then that balances it out for the economy, because somebody coming and staying in that short-term rental will spend more money in the local authority areas. They'll take taxis because they don't have cars. They'll spend money in restaurants. They'll spend money in tourist attractions. So somebody, for the £200 that you save on council tax and they don't pay, they'll probably contribute 4 times that in some areas in spending in the local economy. So I don't think anything in that article is factually true. I believe the people writing it know it's not factually true, but it's clickbait and it's politicising against parties. So there is my alternative view to that.